time keeps moving, doesn't it? It does not bargain or bend. Whether you act or stay frozen, its river never halts. Every second that slips through your hands becomes unrecoverable. And yet inside that inevitability, a strange secret waits. Transformation, real and absolute, can occur faster than thought itself. This is the paradox most never grasp. We've been trained to believe that change crawls, that it takes months, even years, to rewire patterns so deeply etched into our lives. But quantum science whispers another story, that reality itself rearranges the instant you align your awareness with a new possibility. In the breath where you choose, another timeline forms. If time will pass anyway, the question becomes sharper: what version of reality will it carry you into? We imagine change as a mountain to climb, each exhausting step promising progress. Yet every mountain hides a secret doorway, narrow, invisible to the eyes obsessed with effort. That doorway cannot be opened by time, but by resonance. Physics tells us that particles can exist in many states at once until they are observed, until awareness collapses their potential into form. What if your life behaves the same way? What if the future you believe requires years of struggle already exists, waiting for you to notice it into being? Most never find that doorway, not because it's missing, but because they are hypnotized by the pendulum swing of time itself, the endless motion of past and future. But when you stop watching the swing and focus instead on the still axis at its center, everything changes. At that silent point, movement ceases and possibility ignites. Transformation does not emerge from the swing, it's born from the stillness. The faster you step into that timeless center, the faster your world reorganizes around it. From that still point where the pendulum pauses, another realization dawns: the stillness isn't empty. It's aware. It's you. You are not simply a witness drifting through events. You are the observer that reality itself bends to accommodate. Quantum science uses an austere language to describe this, the observer effect. But in human terms, it means that reality waits for your gaze to decide its form. Potentials exist everywhere, shimmering as possibilities until consciousness selects one. In that instant, the wave collapses into a specific outcome. Now imagine this. Your thoughts are those gazes. Your emotions are micro-observations shaping the probabilities around you. Every time you expect difficulty, that expectation becomes the lens that collapses the path of most resistance. Every time you imagine freedom, you call the path of ease into visibility. The field does not play favorites. It merely responds. It waits for coherence in the signal, a signal that begins with the quality of your attention. Most people scatter that attention across 1,000 screens, 1,000 doubts. Their observation never stabilizes, so their reality flickers, uncertain, filled with mixed messages. But when you reclaim your focus, when your gaze becomes single, steady, infused with feeling, something extraordinary happens. The field locks onto your broadcast like a tuning satellite finding home frequency. The background noise quiets. Possibility collapses into clarity. You may have glimpsed this in your own life. A day when you knew something would happen, and it did. A moment when you thought of someone, and they called. A sudden certainty that redirected your path with impossible precision. These aren't coincidences, they are flashes of aligned observation moments when consciousness stopped wavering and reality responded instantly. The ancients spoke of this long before science caught up. As within, so without was not poetry. It was quantum geometry expressed in mystic tongue. The universe mirrors not what you desire, but what you observe as true. To observe from lack is to anchor lack. To observe from wholeness is to make wholeness visible. So when you think of transformation, realize it doesn't start with action, it starts with sight. The act of looking determines the story that unfolds. What you choose to see now sets the coordinates for everything that follows. You are not here to chase outcomes. You are here to remember that the outcome itself arises because of you. This is why awareness must become more than mental clarity. It must become embodied seeing attention that includes breath, pulse, and sensation, because the universe doesn't hear your words. It listens to your vibration. And vibration is nothing but sustained observation, turned physical thought made dense, awareness made visible. The field, that invisible fabric weaving all probabilities, is exquisitely sensitive to such attention. It has no resistance to it, it reorganizes immediately. This is the hidden engine behind synchronicity, the mysterious convergence of meaning that follows genuine focus. When you feel that rhythm, it's not magic, it's feedback. The field showing you that you've stopped scattering and started broadcasting coherently. Now, think back to the still point, the center of the pendulum. That's where observation becomes powerful, not when it's chasing motion, but when it is resting in total presence. The still observer collapses faster than the frantic thinker because stillness carries precision. So the invitation is this: begin noticing how you notice. Each time you catch your mind predicting struggle, pause. Withdraw your gaze from the probability of resistance and place it gently on the frequency of flow. You'll feel the subtle shift, the field reconfiguring around your awareness, like iron filings aligning to a hidden magnet. And as you sustain this awareness, even briefly, the paradox begins to show itself. Change isn't caused by time. It's caused by attention held long enough to make a new pattern real. That's why every breath matters. Each inhalation can be a new observation collapsing into being, and each exhalation a surrender of the old storyline that no longer fits your frequency. From this clarity of observation, something even deeper begins to form: coherence, the bridge that binds thought, emotion, and body into one transmission. That is where the real acceleration begins. And from that clarity of observation, you begin to sense another truth, rising like resonance through the skin. Focus alone is not enough. To transform instantly, your entire system must speak one language. This language is coherence. Think of coherence as harmony among your inner instruments: mind, heart, breath, and body vibrating as one chord. When these instruments are in tune, reality responds not with delay, but with immediacy. Because the universe doesn't measure time, it measures signal strength. Imagine two tuning forks, identical in design. Strike one, and the other begins to sing without contact. That invisible vibration is coherence energy bridging distance effortlessly. Your body operates the same way. When your thoughts, emotions, and physiology resonate with the same intent, the quantum field around you begins to vibrate in sympathy. This is not fantasy. It is physics in motion and biology in concert. Neuroscience calls it synchronization. Mystics call it alignment. Both describe a state where separation between inner and outer dissolves, and feedback becomes instantaneous. When you think one thing but feel another, when your heart whispers yes, but your mind screams no, the field receives static. You send two conflicting frequencies at once, and so nothing collapses clearly. You get mixed results, fragmented signals, partial manifestations that dissolve before they stabilize. But when your thought, feeling, and body all say the same thing, a doorway opens in perception. Suddenly, opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere. Time bends. People arrive in perfect rhythm. You call it coincidence, but it's coherence responding. You may remember moments when this coherence struck without warning, when everything clicked, when you felt unstoppable, when clarity hummed through your veins like electricity. That was not luck. It was resonance achieved, even if only for a moment. Now imagine learning to sustain that state. Imagine walking into a room, and before you speak, the atmosphere itself adjusts to your frequency, not because of charisma or dominance, but because your vibration is congruent. What you think, you feel. What you feel, you embody. What you embody, you radiate. Coherence is contagious. Studies show that when one person enters a coherent heart-brain state, those nearby begin to synchronize unconsciously. Their nervous systems align, their breathing slows. Reality itself bends toward harmony because coherence generates order in the surrounding field. This is why ancient rituals of chanting, dancing, or collective prayer carried power. It wasn't superstition, it was technology frequency calibration among human bodies, amplifying a shared intention until the environment itself responded. You have always carried that same ability within you. The body is an antenna, finely tuned to emotional energy. When your emotions contradict your desires, you jam the signal. When they align, you amplify it. Consider your heart not as a symbol, but as a literal generator. It produces the strongest electromagnetic field in your body, far greater than the brain. That field extends several feet beyond your skin, shaping the space around you. When it beats in coherence with your thoughts, you become a transmitter, not merely a receiver. And here lies the forgotten secret: coherence is faster than effort. You could labor for years to change a circumstance, or you could shift state and let reality realign around that coherence within moments. Effort works through time, coherence works through frequency. The challenge is sustaining it, holding alignment long enough for the new pattern to stabilize. Because coherence, though powerful, is delicate at first. Doubt is static. Fear detunes the signal. The mind rushes in with analysis, breaking rhythm. But every return to coherence strengthens it, just as every repetition deepens a neural groove. You breathe, you feel, you focus, and the system begins to remember. With practice, coherence becomes not an act you perform, but a frequency you live in. And when that happens, something remarkable occurs. You realize coherence was never a technique. It was your natural state, buried beneath layers of noise. The moment you rediscover it, the field knows instantly. It does not hesitate, it responds. Because transformation, at its core, is nothing more than coherence stabilized. And yet, even coherence requires direction. Without it, energy glows but doesn't move. The next secret lies in learning to focus that power, like light shaped into a laser. From coherence, the next pulse emerges direction. Coherence without focus is like sunlight diffused through mist, warm, comforting, but lacking the precision to cut through form. Focus, however, turns that mist into a laser. It gives coherence a destination. You can feel the difference instantly. When your energy is scattered, your presence flickers. The mind leaps between futures, the heart tries to keep up, and the body stumbles behind. But when you center all of it, thought, emotion, and sensation, onto one chosen reality, something sharpens in the field around you. Possibility stops being theoretical, it becomes directional. Focus is not tension, it is surrender without distraction. A state where awareness stops seeking alternatives and commits fully to a single frequency. Imagine holding a note on a violin, unwavering, steady, pure. That is the texture of true focus. Every cell in your body listens to the same tone. In this state, your energy becomes coherent and convergent. It no longer radiates outward in uncertainty. It streams forward like light. And in the quantum field, light does not crawl, it leaps. Focus has been misunderstood as effort, but in truth, It is attention married to meaning. You cannot hold focus on what you don't love. The field senses hesitation. So the question becomes, can you fall in love with your desired reality so completely that every breath, every micro-expression points toward it? That's when focus turns magnetic. Ancient mystics practiced this under different names: devotion, contemplation, prayer. They knew that sustained love for a single vision reorganizes the universe faster than calculation ever could. Modern neuroscience, in its sterile language, calls it sustained attention networks. Yet both point to the same mystery: what you love long enough becomes what you live. You may recall times when your attention was absolute, when hours vanished in what felt like minutes, when creativity flowed effortlessly, when the world blurred and only your purpose remained. In those moments, time itself seemed to obey your rhythm. That was focus collapsing linearity. Most people never reach this because they confuse focus with control. Control constricts, focus expands. Control demands outcomes, focus trusts the process. One comes from fear of chaos, the other from harmony with creation. The discipline of focus begins with noticing how often your awareness fractures. You think you're present, but a fragment of your mind still negotiates with doubt. That fragment divides your signal. True focus requires silence inside that argument. You stop asking, will it work, and start embodying it already is. In that instant, coherence finds direction. The frequency sharpens. The quantum field, sensitive to intent, aligns around that precision like light drawn into a lens. Science hints at this through the phenomenon of superradiance, when particles, once aligned, emit light together at magnitudes far beyond their individual output. Human consciousness behaves similarly. A coherent mind with focused emotion releases energy that multiplies its influence exponentially. Focus does not mean obsession. Obsession is rigidity. Focus is fluid strength, a river cutting through rock not by force, but by constancy. Each moment of renewed attention carves deeper into probability until the alternate timeline collapses, leaving only the one you've been living inside all along. This is the art of quantum direction, the merging of love, attention, and coherence. When all three meet, speed becomes irrelevant, distance dissolves, desire and manifestation overlap until they are indistinguishable. You might notice that your breath shifts as you imagine this. It slows, deepens, becomes intentional. That's your nervous system responding. The body understands focus before the mind does. It feels the narrowing of frequency, the settling into one vibration. To practice this is simple. Choose one reality and love it with all of you, not by wishing, but by breathing as though it's already so. Let the image saturate your senses. Let gratitude flood your cells. The field reads that as completion, not request. And yet even the sharpest focus must travel through a vessel. The next revelation waits in that vessel, the body itself, broadcasting the signal of what you believe. From the beam of focus, the signal finds its instrument, your body. Because all creation, no matter how ethereal it sounds in theory, still needs a transmitter. The field must be spoken to, not in words, but in vibration. Your body is that voice. Every heartbeat, every breath, every tremor of emotion sends a message into the quantum field, translating invisible thought into measurable energy. You are not just in the field, you are one of its broadcasting towers. Science observes this through neuroelectric impulses, biochemical feedback, electromagnetic rhythms. Spiritual traditions describe it as aura, prana, chi, the current of life itself. Both are pointing to the same living equation, consciousness condensed into frequency, then expressed through flesh. When the body vibrates incoherently, meaning when your nervous system hums with anxiety while your mind affirms abundance, the message becomes scrambled. The signal says both yes and no simultaneously, and the field mirrors that confusion. Manifestation flickers, then fades, but when thought, feeling, and physiology align, the message becomes clean, strong, unavoidable. The field receives a command that requires no repetition because it is complete. This is vibrational encoding, the act of embedding intention directly into your biology. Think of it like recording sound on magnetic tape. The tape doesn't argue, it captures whatever tone it's given. Likewise, your cells don't debate your beliefs, they record your emotional frequency. Every repetition reinforces that track until it becomes the background music of your life. That's why it's not enough to think abundance or whisper affirmations from a restless mind. Until the body participates, the vibration doesn't stabilize. You must feel the reality through muscle and breath. Gratitude must move through the bloodstream. Joy must alter your posture. Love must dilate your pupils. Then, and only then, does the field take note. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity the rewiring of the brain through experience. But the process isn't limited to neurons. The heart itself generates the largest electromagnetic field in the body, extending meters beyond the skin. When that field synchronizes with the brain, a measurable coherence occurs, and the signal you send becomes unmistakable. Heart and brain together create a unified transmitter, an engine of reality selection. It's not metaphorical. Instruments have measured this resonance. It is the same principle behind two oscillating pendulums, syncing their swing when placed near each other. The universe behaves no differently. When your internal frequencies align, external reality begins to dance in rhythm. Every cell in your body participates. Mitochondria respond to emotional state. Hormones recalibrate based on perceived safety or threat. You've felt it, the instant rush of heat when embarrassed, the chill of fear, the weightless warmth of love. The body reacts faster than thought because it is thought made physical. So the technique is simple yet radical. Breathe, feel, embody. Instead of saying I am confident, stand as confidence. Instead of wishing for peace, breathe peace into your lungs until your cells believe it's already arrived. The field does not distinguish rehearsal from reality. It mirrors whatever your body insists is true. This is why healing can happen in an instant. The same system that replays trauma in seconds can also encode liberation in seconds. The mechanism is identical. Only the chosen vibration differs. You are already fluent in this language. Every sigh, every heartbeat, every pause is a broadcast. But vibrational encoding doesn't end with emotion. It must be stabilized through repetition. Each coherent breath carves a groove of resonance, just like water carving stone. Do it once, you open the channel. Do it again, you strengthen it. Continue, and the body itself begins to prefer that frequency. It becomes your default, and once that happens, manifestation stops feeling like creation. It feels like recognition, your outer world simply catching up to your inner signal. Remember this, your mind can lie, but your frequency cannot. The field listens to your vibration, not your vocabulary. That's why words fail where embodiment succeeds. And yet, even as this truth reveals itself, there remains an ancient barrier, the conditioning that taught you to distrust ease, to believe that struggle is noble and simplicity is naive. That conditioning is the next veil to dissolve. Even as your body begins to remember its true role as transmitter, an older pattern stirs a vibration inherited from centuries of survival, a deep-rooted belief that effort equals worth. This is the conditioning of struggle, the invisible code that convinces humanity that suffering is the only legitimate path to transformation. You were born into this field. Society teaches it from the first breath. Work harder, earn peace, pay for freedom, prove your value through exhaustion. And so the nervous system learns to associate tension with safety, chaos with control. Ease feels suspicious. Joy feels unearned. Stillness feels dangerous. But none of this is natural. It is conditioning, not law. Struggle is not the gravity of growth. It is the fog that obscures the real ascent. Every civilization has rewritten this illusion in its own dialect: religious sacrifice, cultural stoicism, productivity worship, different symbols, same spell. The more you suffer, the more you are told you evolve. Yet in the quantum field, the equation is reversed. Coherence, not struggle, accelerates change. The field does not reward pain, it responds to resonance. Pain only persists because it's repeated, not because it's holy. Consider this paradox: your biology is designed for ease. When the heart and brain synchronize, hormones stabilize, immunity rises, perception widens. Your system thrives in coherence. Struggle, prolonged, fragments that harmony. It narrows focus to survival mode, shrinking possibilities until you can only see the next obstacle. This is why many chase healing for years yet never stabilize. Their methods are coherent, but their conditioning is not. They meditate with clenched jaws, pray through fear, visualize through lack. They chase peace the same way they chase success, as something far away, to be earned through resistance. To break this spell, you must recognize struggle as a frequency, a habit of vibration, not a destiny. Each time you believe difficulty is noble, you tune yourself to it, and the field faithfully reflects that broadcast. The more you glorify the long road, the longer it becomes. You might ask, then, why the illusion persists? Because struggle is familiar. The nervous system equates familiarity with safety, even when it hurts. People return to old pain because it feels known, predictable. Ease feels foreign, and therefore unsafe. To choose ease is to confront the unknown, the space where control dissolves. But ease is not weakness. It is not passivity. It is alignment without friction. The river doesn't struggle to reach the sea. It follows gravity's invitation effortlessly. The tree does not strain to grow, it simply follows light. Struggle is not how nature evolves, coherence is. To dissolve this conditioning, begin by noticing how often you resist relief. When calm arises, does part of you tense? When joy expands, do you shrink it with guilt? That is the old program defending itself. It fears irrelevance, because once you remember ease, struggle can no longer control you. There's a moment, brief, unmistakable, when the body learns a new baseline. The shoulders drop, the breath deepens, a quiet warmth replaces the need to push. That's coherence overriding the old signal. At that moment, you are free, but only if you trust it enough not to run back to effort. Every time you allow ease without suspicion, you rewrite your nervous system. Cortisol yields to serotonin. The brain rewires through what it experiences repeatedly. What religion called faith and what neuroscience calls neuroplasticity are the same phenomenon: the courage to stay in a new frequency long enough for it to become the new normal. So the invitation is not to stop striving, but to change what striving means. Let it become devotion, not desperation. Let your actions arise from resonance, not resistance. When you act from coherence, even great effort feels effortless because the field moves with you, not against you. And here lies the real revolution. When ease becomes your default, time bends around you. What once took years condenses into days. Opportunities appear before logic can catch up. The impossible becomes simply unresisted. But that shift requires one more evolution. The move from practicing ease as a technique to living it as your native state. This is where presence replaces performance. Ease begins as practice, but its destiny is presence. There comes a point when effortful methods, the breathing, the visualizations, the reminders to stay aware begin to dissolve. Like scaffolding after the structure stands on its own. Practice is the bridge. Presence is the arrival. You've likely felt glimpses of it. Moments when you stopped doing awareness and simply were awareness. When breathing required no guidance because breath and consciousness had merged. When gratitude wasn't something you summoned, but something you became. Those moments are not accidents. They are milestones in embodiment. Embodiment is when understanding crosses the threshold from intellect into biology. When the concept stops living in words and starts living in muscle memory. A dancer doesn't rehearse forever. At some point, the dance begins to move through them. The body stops thinking steps. It is the step. The same principle governs transformation. You practice coherence until coherence practices you. You rehearse focus until it becomes the way your consciousness naturally sees. Then, everything you once chased begins to orbit you. Reality adjusts to your new baseline. Presence is not passive. It is alert stillness, a living equilibrium between attention and surrender. The ancient mystics described it as the state of abiding, of resting as consciousness itself. Modern neuroscience calls it the flow state. Both speak of the same condition, an alignment so total that the division between self and action vanishes. In presence, time loosens its grip, minutes blur into infinity. Thought slows until silence becomes luminous. From this silence, every movement becomes deliberate, every word resonant. You are no longer trying to manifest. You are embodying manifestation itself. It begins subtly. You notice less resistance in daily rhythms. Conversations feel lighter. Choices feel guided, not forced. Even mistakes stop feeling catastrophic. They become creative detours in a field that never stops rearranging for your benefit. This is not fantasy. It is frequency recognition. The universe starts echoing your steadiness. And yet, many lose their way here. They experience fleeting moments of presence, then panic when they fade. The mind rushes back to old rituals, thinking something went wrong. But presence cannot be held by willpower. It can only be invited by remembrance. You remember, not repeat. You breathe, not chase. Each return to presence reinforces the neural imprint of coherence. Hebb's law: neurons that fire together, wire together, becomes spiritual law. The more often you embody peace, the more peace your biology expects. Eventually, peace no longer feels like an achievement. It feels like home. Presence doesn't cancel action, it transforms it. When you move from presence, action carries precision. The field mirrors this immediacy with synchronicity. You become efficient without effort, like a musician improvising with divine timing. At this stage, desire itself transforms. You no longer seek outcomes to fill emptiness. You create because creation delights you. The act of expressing becomes the reward. Paradoxically, this detachment amplifies manifestation. When nothing is missing, everything becomes available. Presence, then, is not the end of practice. It's its flowering. You practice to remember your natural rhythm. Now, life becomes the meditation. Every breath becomes communion. Every sensation becomes the reminder: I am here. I am whole. I am already enough. And in that wholeness, transformation accelerates beyond prediction. The field no longer needs to be commanded. It follows your frequency automatically. You no longer visualize outcomes. They appear as reflections of your state. You no longer affirm abundance. You radiate it. presence is the living proof that you've crossed from theory to embodiment. But there is still one veil left to lift the human addiction to complexity. Even at the edge of awakening, the mind clings to structure, steps, guarantees. Simplicity terrifies it because it leaves no place to hide. And yet, the greatest secret has always been simple, so simple that most overlook it. The shortest path, the fastest technique, the quantum shortcut itself, is disarmingly direct. The next revelation is the hardest for the mind and the easiest for the heart. Complexity delays. Simplicity collapses. You can feel the tension even now, the mind's instinct to analyze, to structure, to make a labyrinth out of what was always a straight line. The greatest barrier to quantum transformation is not ignorance, it is sophistication. The human mind fears simplicity because simplicity removes the need for control. Simplicity is ruthless. It exposes the fact that reality responds to you the moment you stop negotiating with it, that the door you've been circling for years was never locked, only ignored. The shortcut isn't hidden in technique, ritual, or repetition. It lives in surrender, in the audacity to believe that alignment doesn't require preparation. But that very ease frightens people. Complexity offers safety, the illusion of progress. You can measure steps, count achievements, delay the confrontation with your own power. Simplicity, on the other hand, leaves you naked before creation. No script, no method, just you, your breath, and the infinite responding. Most people don't reject transformation, they reject responsibility. Because once you understand that coherence can collapse reality instantly, you can no longer hide behind not ready. Once you see that one breath of full embodiment can rewrite your life, hesitation loses its justification. This is why the shortcut, though available to all, is claimed by few. It demands honesty. It demands that you stop worshiping time as your savior and recognize it as your mirror. You don't need years to change. You need a moment of total presence that you no longer interrupt. The quantum field, after all, has no concept of duration. It doesn't ask how long you've been healing or how many hours you've meditated. It listens only to coherence. The speed of your transformation is determined by the depth of your alignment, not the length of your struggle. Think of light. A photon doesn't crawl from one point to another. It exists everywhere along its path simultaneously. That is the nature of true simplicity. You do not move toward transformation, you collapse into it. And yet, the ego loves complexity because complexity gives it identity. 10 steps to manifestation, 20 affirmations a day, all scaffolding for a self, afraid of vanishing into the immediacy of power. The shortcut terrifies the ego because it removes the ladder it's been climbing. But for the soul, simplicity feels like homecoming. It's the recognition that life was never testing you, it was waiting for your clarity. Every ritual, every teaching, every how-to guide has been preparing you to outgrow them. When you arrive at simplicity, the tools dissolve because their purpose is complete. Simplicity doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing only what is true. One breath in coherence is worth 1,000 scattered intentions. One choice made from wholeness carries more force than years of hesitant wishing. Imagine standing at the still point again, no pendulum, no swing, just pure awareness suspended in quiet certainty. In that silence, you are neither seeking nor resisting. The paradox resolves itself, change becomes instant, because there is no more waiting for it. This is why many teachers across traditions spoke of the single act. One decision, one breath, one remembrance. The moment you unify thought, feeling, and body into that act, reality adjusts instantly. But the mind, trained to equate worth with effort, whispers it can't be that easy. And so the cycle begins again, overthinking, analyzing, measuring. Yet ease was never the enemy of mastery. It is its final expression. Simplicity, paradoxically, is sophisticated awareness stripped of excess. Its coherence purified of story. The shortcut works because it bypasses resistance not by force, but by absence. What isn't complicated cannot be delayed. So how do you live inside that simplicity without losing it to distraction? How do you remain in coherence when the world keeps demanding complexity? The answer lies in a higher law than speed, the law of timelessness. Because once you step beyond time, even the concept of shortcut dissolves. There is no longer fast or slow, only now. From simplicity arises something stranger, still not faster change, but the end of fast altogether. Because when coherence stabilizes and focus ceases to scatter, time itself starts behaving differently. You feel it first as a subtle slowing, a widening of space between moments. Then, suddenly, the idea of waiting collapses. Timelessness is not eternity stretched across infinity. Its presence so complete that duration disappears. Imagine standing in the eye of a storm, winds roaring around. Yet within the center, perfect calm. That center is timelessness. All movement continues, but none of it belongs to you anymore. Science touches this mystery through flow states. Neuroscientists observe that during peak performance or deep creativity, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain obsessed with clock time, temporarily deactivates. In that silence, athletes, artists, mystics describe the same phenomenon. Minutes expand, hours vanish, and awareness merges with action. The body moves, yet no one is doing the moving. Quantum physics whispers the same pattern. A photon, the particle of light, experiences no time between emission and arrival. From its perspective, it travels zero distance in zero duration. To light, the journey is instantaneous because it is the journey. And you, composed of that same light, hold the same potential. The deeper secret is this: timelessness isn't something you enter, it's something you remember. You've already been here. In every moment you stopped measuring, comparing, anticipating, as a child lost in play, as an artist lost in creation, as a lover lost in presence. Those were not escapes from time, they were glimpses of your native state. Timelessness is what happens when the observer and the observed collapse into one event. When breath becomes awareness, and awareness becomes existence itself. There is no distance left for time to cross. And yet, we live addicted to counting. Seconds, years, progress, delay. Every tick of the clock reinforces separation, me here, desire there, fulfillment somewhere ahead. But in the quantum field, there is no ahead. There is only frequency, either matched or mismatched. When you enter coherence, you begin matching the frequency of your desired reality now. Time, unable to measure distance between you and it, stops applying its rules. That's why transformations that once seemed impossible suddenly appear out of nowhere. They didn't appear, you stepped into their coordinate. To live this way is radical. It dismantles ambition as the engine of growth. It replaces striving with radiance. You stop chasing outcomes and start radiating the vibration of completion. The world mirrors that signal, not as reward, but as reflection. Timelessness does not remove responsibility, it heightens it. Because when there's no future to blame, every moment becomes sacred. You realize creation isn't scheduled, it's constant. Every breath is causality. So practice disappearing into presence. Let minutes dissolve while awareness expands. Feel how the body softens, the mind quiets, the heartbeat synchronizes with something older than chronology. That is timeless coherence, the real quantum state. In timelessness, Miracles aren't extraordinary, they're natural physics. And from that recognition, the final step reveals itself to live beyond waiting, as the embodiment of creation itself. From the stillness of timelessness, the final realization emerges: you were never waiting for transformation. Transformation was waiting for you to stop counting. Once time dissolves, so does the illusion of delay. You begin to live not as someone seeking change, but as change embodied. Everything slows and sharpens. The air feels charged. The smallest gestures, lifting a cup, taking a breath, feel deliberate, radiant with presence. You realize this is what true manifestation always meant, not summoning something distant, but expressing what is already encoded within you. The future was never later. It was layered here, waiting for coherence to reveal it. To live beyond waiting is to abandon the idea of becoming. You no longer chase better versions of yourself. You live from wholeness, and wholeness becomes magnetism. Each thought, each emotion, each pulse of gratitude extends through the field as instruction, and reality obeys not because it's impressed, but because it recognizes its source. This is what ancient teachers meant when they spoke of living as though it were already done. It wasn't a metaphor for blind faith. It was a manual for frequency stabilization. When you inhabit completion, the field stops reading lack. It mirrors fulfillment. The body becomes a vessel of certainty, not striving. This certainty is not arrogance. It is deep humility, the understanding that the same intelligence animating galaxies breathes through your lungs. You don't command the universe, you harmonize with it. You stop asking, when will it happen, and start realizing, it is already unfolding through me. And then, the texture of reality changes. Obstacles don't vanish, they rearrange. People show up at improbable moments. Conversations open unexpected doors. Coincidences multiply until coincidence itself feels like an outdated word. You live in flow, not by chance, but by design. Yet the mind will still test you. It will whisper that waiting feels safer, that patience equals wisdom, that maybe you're delusional to move without guarantees. But you'll recognize that voice as the echo of linear time trying to reclaim your allegiance. You can smile at it. Let it pass like weather, because once you've tasted timelessness, waiting feels like rust, the slow corrosion of potential. Action from presence, however small, carries infinite weight. A single breath of coherence can reorder events more powerfully than years of indecision. To live beyond waiting doesn't mean rejecting time, it means seeing through it. You still meet appointments, fulfill responsibilities, move through days, but underneath the schedule, you pulse with eternity. You know the clock is a costume worn by infinity to play with itself. So you walk differently, not rushing, not dragging, but gliding on currents of alignment. You speak differently, each word measured not by speed, but by resonance. You even dream differently, not of escape, but of expansion. And one day you realize something quietly astonishing: you no longer manifest intentionally. You simply express naturally. Creation becomes conversation. You breathe, and reality responds as easily as an echo. This is living beyond waiting, the state where miracles stop being extraordinary and become the ordinary rhythm of coherence. It is not a technique, it is not an achievement, it is remembrance embodied. And in that remembrance, you finally understand time will keep moving, but you no longer travel through it. It travels through you. From this awareness, we circle back gently, deliberately, to the simplest truth of all: time will pass anyway. The question was never when change arrives, but who you are as it passes through you. Every breath you take is a bridge between universes, a quiet collapse of possibilities into presence. You don't need to chase transformation anymore. You are its living current. The quantum field responds. not to your effort, but to your coherence, the soft hum of alignment that begins with a single conscious inhale. So breathe now, just once, as though the air itself were sacred. Let it travel through the heart, through the ribs, through every cell that has been waiting to remember its light. On the exhale, release the weight of waiting. Watch it fall away like dust from the surface of a mirror. Notice how quiet it becomes when striving ends. In that quiet, awareness expands. You realize you have never been separated from the field, never disconnected from the intelligence that animates every atom. You were only distracted by the noise of measurement. To live beyond waiting is not a demand to move faster, it's an invitation to move truer. When you breathe from the center, every action becomes aligned. When you act from coherence, even silence becomes creation. So as this transmission closes, carry this knowing softly: the doorway is always open, and it opens inward. Each moment is a new calibration of the infinite into form. Time will flow, but you, luminous observer, will remain the still point around which all realities turn.